Hello New Zealand, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, a big low is forming in the Tasman Sea later this week. It's going to help drive in some warm weather, then a fair bit of rain, and then it turns colder and windier and potentially stormy for a time next week in some parts of New Zealand. There's a lot of moving parts, so we'll get into it to try and make sense. At the moment, warmth is coming back. It's remarkable. We had sea level snow and very low level snow just 48 hours ago. Now we're already talking about warmer than average in most parts of New Zealand. In the north, high pressure, that's bringing down subtropical winds. And in the South Island, you've got mild nor'westers or mild westerlies. Either way, most main centres in New Zealand are warmer than average on Wednesday afternoon. And this is the map that shows it. The departure from normal. So in other words, how much warmer or colder is it for this time of the year? And at the moment, most of the country is warmer than average. There's a large pocket here in the middle that's bang on normal, but most other places, a degree to several degrees if you're in Canterbury, warmer than it should be on this day at this time of the year. Now tonight does get a bit colder. Still though, much of the North Island is either normal or warmer than average. The South Island, colder than average for the top half, then it gets warmer than average the further south you go. And then we get into Thursday and look at that. It's warmer again across the country. You can see parts of the North Island are warmer than average. The South Island maybe a bit more normal because there's a very localised southerly or slightly cooler wind coming in for you down there. So this is how it's shaping up on Thursday. You can see those subtropical winds for the North Island. That's why it's warmer than it should be on Thursday afternoon. In the South Island, colder winds down here, just sort of curving around, and that's why just the very lower part and around Fiordland will be a bit colder and certainly wet as well, with rain falling there and also some rain and showers in the central part of the western North Island. On Friday, our big low starts to form and it deepens quite quickly over the next few days. As you can see, there's some rain lingering around the North Island, fairly dry for the South Island, perhaps a bit of a cold start first thing. Otherwise, a fairly settled Friday in many areas, especially once this stuff clears away. It might take a little bit of time in some places. The weather's not exactly energetic on Friday. Now on Saturday, this low really does deepen. It's quite remarkable that Niwa is completely dismissing this, and I'm not really sure why. It may be for commercial reasons, but there are big nor'westers coming in, a lot of rain, and I think you will be seeing Met Service putting out warnings for this low. It does get very deep. 976 is very deep. It shows a lot of wind coming in before it, and that might be problematic, although based on this map, Saturday doesn't actually look too bad. Sunday does get windier though. You can see the isobars really squashing together. It'll make for very windy conditions on the eastern side, the very north and coastal areas. There's rain and showers in here. You can see some dry spells in the mix. The low is deepening even further and the rain will continue on the west coast, heavy at times, but the flip side, eastern areas look mostly dry. Now next week gets a little more interesting. Here is Monday. Deep low pressure to our south. It spreads out to the southeast as well. More rain, more wind, and these temperatures are starting to drop. Our final map for Tuesday shows a very cold southerly across the country. Now, as I say, I'm really surprised that Niwa's going out of their way to say, don't worry about this. But we're saying for lambing and calving, this is a concern. Sure, it might not bring snow to Auckland. We're not even thinking about Auckland. We're thinking really about the South Island and those who are smack bang in the middle of lambing and calving. It's already underway in some parts. And so a brutally cold southerly, that's not your friend because of the wind chill. So it doesn't have to be a storm with gale force winds for it to be a problem. Light winds with a bitterly cold wind chill can be deadly for newborn livestock. So we want to just give you the big heads up. It is going to get cold. A lot of people are asking whether or not flights will be delayed. We can't answer that yet. It's too far out. If any flights are delayed, more than likely it'll be the small regional ones, not the big international ones. And as I say, the very north of the country is not really in the grips of the storm. It's further south, and it's more about the wintry blast and the wind chills coming on in for all those farmers and growers around the country, particularly the farmers at the moment. So here's one last map to show you. This is from ECMWF, that's the European modelling. Look how deep that low is, 929 hectopascals, and the high way up there, nearly 1040. So that is a gigantic drop in air pressure. That's why it is so windy across the country on Tuesday next week. And there's still a lot of moving parts. We can't lock this all in yet, but I'd be pretty surprised if Met Service didn't issue one single warning as a result of this weather. It does look like it's going to be pretty rough in some areas, but we won't really be able to lock it all in for another couple more days. That is all from me. Don't be alarmed in the meantime. It is just winter weather and it's normal for this time of the year.